Everyone, thank you for attending today's Tableau server and online admin user group. My name is Mark Wu. I'm a Tableau server admin, also a 3-time Tableau Z master, and this server admin virtual group lead. Today's topic is Tableau 21.2 new feature demo and a deep dive for admins. Just some quick logistics. Everyone is muted during the whole session for better recording quality. Please use the QA button to submit questions at any time. And everyone is more than welcome to answer those questions as this is a community event. I will try to answer some of your questions as we go at the logical start point, and I will have a dedicated Q&A time at the end. Do we recording this session? Yes, the recording will be available next Monday or even earlier. I'm pinning everyone in the chat where you can find all the previous recordings and summaries. Today's topic, focusing on 21.2. Although 21.3 is out, I know probably many of us have not had a chance using much 21.3 yet. We're focusing on 21.2, the 4 main features on the server side is explain data, collection, subscription, and ask data lens. Although there are a few other features, I will go through very quick. As a server admin, we will have to upgrade the server before we can enable those features to the users. Back to a few weeks back, I did a survey. Thank you for your participation. Most of you answered this survey. Let me show you the survey result of upgrade. 2 simple questions. One is, how often you upgrade your servers? If you're a server admin, half of us saying once a year only, about 30% twice a year, and 20+% 3 times a year, like me. The second question was, by that time, get back to August 26, what was the version you were using if you have your own server? The answer is here below. Of course, if I pull the same questions, the answer will be slightly different, but ballpark, there's always a lag, of course, getting the new version ready. I heard that Tableau plans to reduce the cycle a little bit on the server release from next year, so that maybe is about right. Today's 4 times a year on server. Maybe next year they plan to do twice a year on the server. So I guess for server admin, server community probably is about right, because most of us anyway, we upgrade 2 or even 1 a year. All right, let's dive into explain data. I try my best to do the demo. And actually the demo I'm gonna use is a Tableau Online. So the features are same, no matter it's online or server, okay, or your own server. But online is much easier for those you don't need to worry about the upgrade, the things. Let me start with online. I think I got it already. Different browser. Okay. This is on my online. The first feature I'm going to demo is explain data. Is the explain data feature. Okay. Oops. Explain data. The favorite. Okay, open my dashboard. I'm going to open simple Superstore data set. When users click any marker, there are always three options: keep this record, exclude, or they can see the details. Okay. Now with explain data, when they click this, it'll have one more show up here on the server. But for security reasons, Tableau made explain data off as default. As creator, as owner, you will have to make it available workbook by workbook. What I just did, okay, if you just missed, I'll go back. What I just did is I'm going to enable explain data for this workbook, and then you will see what happens. I'm going to do it using web edit. Click edit of this workbook, data, and one of the data sources, in this case, is sample superstore. Click explain data setting. That is new only from 21.2. When I click that, you will find there is allow explain data to be used in this workbook. If you are using 21.2, somehow these two tabs are flip each other. And the version I'm showing you is 21.3. But almost the same. You will have, if you are 21.2, you will have to go to second tab to get this one. Okay, get this flag. I select allow explain data to be used for this workbook. I click OK. I'm going to save this workbook. It's hard for you to see my save action, my click action. Make my mouse better. I'm going to close this. Now this workbook is enabled with explain data. Okay. Now I'm going to click the marker, any marker. Now you notice there's a new explain data icon. I click that. On the right side, there is explain data pane. And further, the couple of types of explain data. For example, I see the summary is higher than expected. I click this, dive into summary details. Now it tells me there is one value is extremely high value, 22,000. If I go further down, if I click the further down, this one extreme value, it tells me that the rest is only very, very small, few hundreds only, but with one super large, 22,000. Maybe this is the data error. Again, the business users, they will know the data, so it will probably make more sense for them. But the features Tableau design helps our end users to see the why in addition to what. And for example, it tells if that one extreme value is excluded. Actually, Sean Miller total will be somewhere at lower bottom 5 versus top 1. That is explain data. Pretty simple enough to use. Unfortunately, it is turned off by default for every single workbook. Even you upgrade the server, you will not see this feature be available for any of the workbooks until the workbook owner enable it. Why? It is mainly because the explain data will use all the data columns from data sources. That some of the columns, the workbook owner may not want the viewer to see initially. Some of the columns are not visible on the dashboard, but it will be used in the explain data. So Tableau design team, feature design team has to be very careful to balance, make the feature available, and also do not mess up the data security on the server. If I give you the recap on the feature side, on the server control side, what controls the admin we have, okay? You can turn off explain data at the server side level if you want. Turn on, turn off at the data source level only by owners, okay? Can you turn off explain data at the project level? No. Can you turn off explain data at the server level? I'm not aware of. All right, that is explain data. When I did the web editing, I don't know if you noticed at all. Let me try again. That's another tiny new feature. I just make it easier, better. When you click web editing, you notice this is a new icon here. This will basically open a workbook. So that is a new feature where allow more like seamless transition between server web editing and the desktop, because always some desktop features are not available on the server web editing yet. So that is the quick little feature here. Okay. Another new feature I cannot demo to you. I even have not tried by myself. Hopefully, some customers of Tableau will leverage this. This is the beginning of Tableau's journey to make Tableau in a Docker. It's available since 21.2. Another one maybe I can show you. Actually, this is a feature that I have been looking for a long time because I manage a large enterprise. So that is a feature allow one site can have multiple Python or R servers. I'm going to show you. Okay, this will be again same for online or server. I click my settings, click extensions. As you can see, this is a new for a site. I already have 2 Python servers. You can add as many as you want. You can add 2 Python servers, 5 R servers, whatever you want to add. This is beautiful. And also, if you are an online user, there is much easier Salesforce integration. By the way, this is a 21.3 because it's an online version. 21.3 has Tableau Slack integration. It is mainly sending notifications to Slack. The notifications includes data-driven alerts and extracts failure alerts and so on. That's only available 21.3. Okay, move on, talk about that. Next feature. That is subscription new configuration, subscription timeout. So why we care subscription timeout? Well, I care a lot because I manage a very large server. There are some publishers, they cannot make their workbook fast enough. In other words, they know their workbook is very, very slow. So their users cannot wait when they click a server. But they are so smart, they don't want to spend time to make it better. Instead, they let users subscribe to those workbooks only. Well, for me, that is kind of bad behavior because it consumes a lot of my server resources. I don't like it. I always want to set a small subscription timeout, 5 minutes, 10 minutes timeout. I had a challenge in the past because Tableau does not have an easy way to have a timeout for total subscription jobs. Only has per view. Okay, now finally 21.2 has a new configuration that is called timeout single subscription notify. So this is timeout for the whole subscription job. Means if subscription is for the workbook has 5 tabs or 5 views. The total 5 views together will have this whatever time I specified as timeout. Works beautiful. Okay, I confirm it works for me. I'm already using that. So how it compares with the existing subscriptions timeout? I'm going to dive into this a little bit more to make sure everyone knows how to use them together. The existing one, subscriptions timeout, is per view. Okay, I'll give you an example. It's per view. And the new one is all the views together. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have both. You configure both. Okay, the older one, subscriptions timeout, 5 minutes. The new one, also configure 5 minutes. Use case 1, where is a view subscription. End up with no difference. Each is 5 minutes because no matter per view or per subscription job, it's one thing, same thing. Now, use case number 2, workbook subscription, but this workbook has only single view. It's the same thing, no difference. Well, the difference comes when people do have workbook subscription. That can be very common. If a workbook has multiple views, the existing key again is 5 minutes per view, but new key is total 5 minutes. And if the user choose PDF subscriptions, the old key, I don't know if you ever noticed, never works. It never works. It never works. I don't know if the documentation says so or not, but new key works. Feel free to take this screenshot if you want. All right, there are more on the subscription timeout. Actually, there are 2 more configurations also impact the subscription timeout. You like it or not. One is the backgrounder query time that also impacts all the extracts timeout. Another one is a backgrounder extract timeout in seconds. Also impacts the subscription timeout. How that works? Let me give you, okay, how that works. Same thing for the new key, okay? How that works is the minimum. That's a formula I put over here. I try to translate into things easy for you to understand. It's not easy for us to understand. And the documentation is one thing, but try to truly understand how all this works is another thing. That's why I'm trying to make it simple for you as admin. Okay, there are 2 other things impact. I'll give you example. But before I go with my example, let me ask you one more thing, since this is a deep dive. That this is for per user or for all the users? Each subscription job can have like 10 users. Is it per user or per all users? The answer is for per user, no matter what old key or new key you use. It's per user. Let me give you more specific examples. Okay. For the existing subscriptions timeout, the background query limit default is 2 hours. The default value for the subscription timeout is 30 minutes. The default value for the extra timeout is 30 minutes. What is each view subscription timeout per user? What is your answer? Let me see if anyone can answer this in the QA area. What is your answer? Someone, let me get my QA button. Let me get my QA button work. 30? David tried 30. Any other tries? It's not 30, unfortunately. That's why it's not easy to understand these things. Okay, it's not 30. It's a 60 because it's the minimum plus extra. There's plus. The answer is 60. Let me try next one. At new key. New key. I know this is not easy. That's why I try. I'm trying to translate. The new key. If you don't do anything, default value, what is total subscription job timeout per user? That's also 60 minutes. Okay, that's 60 minutes. That's very long. I know, very long, which is why if this is too complicated for you to understand or don't have time to understand, you can also simply take my recommendation. Here's Mark's recommendation for the 3 values. Subscription timeout, 5 minutes. The backgrounder extract timeout, give 0. Please give to 0. This is a very confusing one. Okay, let's give to 0. Then you can set the new key timeout, single subscription, notify 10 minutes. Just take this recommendation. It'll help. Again, the main thing is for the better behavior. Let me answer a quick question. Position pack. Is there similar parameter for extracts refresh? I guess you talk about extract refresh timeout. Yes, extract refresh timeout has been there a long time. Always extract timeout, but it's only extract timeout normally is 2 hours. By default, if you don't do anything, it's 2.5 hours because there is extra 30 minutes. Okay, which is why the extra 30 minutes is very confusing. I always set it 0 to make it simple. Okay. For me, I set extract timeout 2 hours. I also have a flow timeout 2 hours. And then the subscription, I set 5 minutes. As another quick question from Maddie. Hello, does R Python are installed as part of upgrade or was have to be installed to configure them? Oh, okay. It's like this, the R Python integration. Okay. There's no R or Python installed on the Tableau server. Assumptions of Tableau server is Tableau server only. And the process is that other business teams will bring their own Python or R servers. And then as a server admin, we just connect them. I will not even recommend someone put the R or Python server on top of your Tableau server. I will not. I don't do that. Okay. In a large organization, I always want the business teams to manage their own Python or R servers so they can manage their library, their permission, so making sure only they can access. As a server admin, I do not want to get the business of managing someone else's Python or R server. That's a whole another permission thing I don't want to get into. So it's mainly the connection. It's not installed on Tableau server, and we should not install it on Tableau server. Okay, let me get another next feature demo. That is collection. First of all, why collection? Okay, why Tableau has collections? Probably you heard this many times already. When your server or online, you're getting a lot of dashboards, the business users complain that it's hard to organize the content on the server. It's hard to organize the dashboards. When I have so many, it's difficult. There is a favorite, but still a little bit challenging. Okay, challenging to organize. Not very easy to move around. That has been the challenge of Tableau server. So finally, the collection came up. The intent of a collection is simplified things. You can organize your content much easier. It's more like a tagging, but more advanced tagging. Okay, it's organizing the content. You notice there's a new icon here called collection. Okay, you see there are some private and there are some public. When you have a private collections, by default, you can create a new collection. It is, it looks a word, looks nothing. Well, I say explore your content. Then you can add any content into the collection. Okay, now I have a lot of collections to add. I can add into any of those, for example, add into collections. Now, if you can go to collections, okay, then you will see my new collection. Number 5, maybe. I added number 5, add 2 items. Okay, you can add workbooks, anything on the collection. By default, it's private. You can share them. Click permission, ... Okay, you can share. Now, the permission is really simple. Simple in the sense you give user groups, our users, for example, is only view or nothing. Okay, this is a permission of the collection. I know you'll be asking questions. Okay, what happens? I gave all users permissions to my collection, but some users don't have access to some of this content. Again, what if they have permission to the collection, but they don't have permission to the content? What happens? Well, nothing happens. For example, I go to my collection, I go to a new to Tableau collection. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 5 items, as you can see with dashboard, metrics, different things. I'm owner, I can see 5 items. If I give user John permission to this new to Tableau collection, John may only see 1 item here. That may be a weekly, maybe sales only metrics. That's it. And Alan may see 2 items, although there are 5. So basically, the key concept here as admin, important for you to understand, to take away, is the permission of collection does not impact permission of the content of the items within the collection. That's a key concept you need to take home. Now, if you ask, why design a permission for collection at all? Why not make collection to be available to everyone on the server? That is a good thought. That is initially the beta version was doing, but we give strong feedback. Many beta testers give strong feedback. Think if you are a large organization, if all the collections are available to everyone on the server, no permission, what it can be 2 years later on. Likely you will have 2,000, 3,000 collections. Then you end up with same situation as before. It's hard to find the true useful ones. Same before. So why we started with a collection? We're building, and now we're creating another problems later on without permission. So the permission of the collection helps reduce unnecessary audience to see the collection, okay? But it's not designed to change any content within, not designed to change any content permissions within the collection. That is a key concept, very important. I repeat, this is a take home key concept, repeat the permission of collection. When you give others access to the collection, collection does not affect the permissions for the item, their content. In a collection, users see only the items they have permission to see. Okay. All right. Since I mentioned this is a deep dive, I'm going to show you a few more things. Who can create the permission collections? Okay. Who can create? Oh, okay. Next question. How collection different from project? Well, the project is a place all the workbook data sources are published to. A content is more like tag. Okay, as you content, it looks like there are things within the collections, but the collection is just tagging. Think is tagging. It's not really a physical place where you can publish to collection. You have to publish your workbook data source to a project, then you can tag that project with this collection. Think that way. That's a great question, Ali. Okay. Who can create collection? Well, the thing is, anyone can create collections, sorry. Anyone can create collections, even the end users. This is different from any other things on the server. Any other things on the server, only the publishers can create. Now collections, think about even the viewers, the end users, they can create collections. Who can share? Well, every collection owner can share the collections to other people. Think about that. Of course, admins can as well. Admins always can do a lot of things. What can be added to the collection? Almost anything. Almost anything. I say almost anything because the lens is too new, it cannot be added yet. Okay, but it will be. That's what I heard. How permission works? Again, I repeat 5 times already. Owners can grant other users or groups. Does not change the object permissions. Object means data source, workbooks, and so on. What if I have no permission for any content, any items within the collection? What happens? Well, you see empty collection. You can still see the collection, but when you click that, you see nothing inside. Although the collection can have 100 items, you just don't have permission to see any of them. That's it. How a user unsubscribe a collection? You wish there is feature? No, there's no such feature. Nothing. You cannot unsubscribe. This is a consistent as Tableau's permission. You cannot, an end user that cannot unsubscribe a permission to access something. They cannot. Those questions I'll come back. What's the lens? That's my next demo. What if owner left company, become unlicensed? Well, nothing happens. Just like same as workbook, owner become unlicensed, can still be used. Can a project leader modify the collection? Now, project leader, this is a question, good question. I want you to think. Used to be project leader is good. They can do a lot of things, but they cannot touch collections, okay? Because collection does not belong to a project. Remember, multiple projects can be in one collection. Collection is more like tagging, is a separate thing. It's outside project. So project leader cannot do anything, okay? Who can delete the collection? Well, later on, if you have too many junk collections, who can delete? Of course, only owners and admins. How to check usage of a collection? I don't know. I don't think there is a way. If someone figure out, share. All right, let's move on. Next one. Oh, I did add another one. How to add image. Okay, there is an unofficial way to add image. Also not very nice, but it's okay. Similar to project level. If I have time, I'll show you. If I don't, I'll skip that. You can figure out not very nice, but it's okay. Similar as a project. That's how you add. All right, I move on. Ask Data 2.0. Talk about lens. Actually, as part of 21.2, Tableau did quite big changes, quite a few big changes around Ask Data. I list 5 things here, at least 6 things here. One is you can embed Ask Data to dashboard now, pretty easily. Okay. Also, Ask Data now works with published data source with rule level security. That is something big I've been waiting for a long time. Finally, it works. Thank you, Ask Data team. Introduce Ask Data Lens. I'm going to dive on that. Also, Ask Data is available for viewers. You can do a recommend vids. There is a side level control. Admins, we like that always. Let me do a demo for Ask Data. Okay, I start Ask Data. Now I will start with a dashboard. Embed with Ask Data. Okay, now this is the feature. Here we go. Ask Data is available here. See on my dashboard. Make it easier, right? Users can start type things. How you make this? Let me web edit. By the way, this feature is only available on the server because using Lens is not visible on the Tableau desktop. So I'm going to redesign this dashboard. Notice there's a new object type called Ask Data. You can move anywhere you like. You can drag to your dashboard. Then you choose your data source. In this case, it's only one data source. And you can choose lens. I have 2. You can choose any one makes sense. They will tell you the user modify. That's nice. You can add more if you want. Create more lens from here. Refresh. New items will show up here. Let me just use this lens. I'll talk about lens later, okay? I'm going to use this lens. Ben is here. Okay, that's it. Okay, and this has recommended these, for example. You can go to different tabs. You can ask more things. Okay, something like that, whatever. This looks not very fancy, but you can always do some fancy chart. Okay, something like that. Sorry. Okay. And then you can, what do you do after Ask Data? Well, you can discard it or you can save it. When I say save it, it means publish on the server. Okay. In this case, in the dashboard, you can only forget it. You cannot save because it's embedded on the dashboard. All right. This is how you basically you make use the feature of Ask Data. Okay. Embed on Tableau dashboard. Now there's a new concept called lens, which you saw it already. Let me go to the lens. Let me close this. Lens. What is lens? Now, if you go to Explorer from here, you can see the type. There's a new type here. Ask Data Lens. What is lens? Let's dive on that. Okay. I got a couple of lens already. Let me just pick this one, for example. You click lens. Okay. Get ready for me to use Ask Data. Okay. Select the total sales by segment, for example. Okay, you can like lens is for Ask Data. Okay, but why Tableau designs a lens. Why? Why is confuse things? Why we introduce a lens? Okay, I'll talk about concept. I come back with this demo, continue with this demo. Let me talk about the concept, why design the lens at all. It's more like this. Here's my understanding, okay? Of course, last data is based on a published data source, okay? When a department has very large published data source set, okay, let's say it's for finance, has 100 columns with all the financial data, okay? And it's not so easy to let all kind of finance users to just ask data out of 100 columns, because a lot of them, they may not know which column is what, which shipment, which cost is what, can be very confusing. So very often, you may want to give a subset of data only to financial managers, give other subset of data only to financial, for example, planners. Then you can design multiple lenses based on this published data source. Okay, example I'm showing here is 3 different lenses for 3 different type of users. So what it also means is lens is subset of the published data source. Okay, it's subset only. Okay, and now from 21.2, like it or not, lens becomes required for Ask Data. Means you have to have Ask Lens before you can ask data. In the past, you know it. In the past, now let's go back to my demo. In the past, when you click the published data source, you're ready to ask data, you can just get started ask data right away. But now you have to have a lens. Let's say I'm going to go into the ask data. You see this is a lens. It is a part of this, it comes from this data source, click data source. In the past, when you click the data source, and then you are ready to use Ask Data. This pane is for Ask Data. Now, this pane gave you lists of lens, if anything available, or if nothing available, say you can create new lens. You have to have a lens. You have to use a lens to ask data now from 21.2. Okay. So you can create new lens. Create new lens is a publishing a process. Is a publishing. Basically, you have to publish it somewhere. Description is option. I can give this publish lens. As you can see, it's a publishing. Now lens is available. Then you can edit the item. Here's new. Of course, you can choose certain things I don't want to show for this lens. For example, I do not want to show the discount, do not want to show the quantity and so on, only show sales, for example, sales dollars. Okay, and you can query the things. Total sales by states. Do I have that? Yeah, by United States. I don't know if there's total sales by state. Let me just query that. Okay, I got this number. Maybe by segment. Okay. Okay, just simple Ask Data thing. Okay, and then you can also pin this. Is a new pin to recommended viz. Okay, then you can. There are different sections of recommended viz. For example, you can pin. Now this will be the recommended viz of the lens. Okay, of course you can do more things here. You can change, make a name better, and so on. Okay, but this is a lens creation. Create lens is a publishing process. You can create. You will have to give the permission for users to use ... is where you give permissions. Now it's similar as any other permissions. I'm going to skip the permission, but be aware that lens has its own permissions. Lens is required when you ask data. Lens can be embedded to a dashboard. Okay, let me do a recap. I'm running a little bit slow today. Get 10 more minutes to go, but let me give you the recap on the slides. Entry point Ask Data now become Lens. Okay, Lens is subset only. Who can create Lens? It's publishing process. You need all those three conditions: publish set the rule, connect permission to the data source, and a folder or project to publish, of course. Who can use Lens? Any users can use Lens as long as they have connect permission to the published data source and the view permission to the Lens. I know this is a little bit duplicated. Number 2, number 3. I think the permission of Lens is a little bit too complicated. Hopefully Tableau Dev can simplify that. For example, when a user has connect permission to the public data source, why not inherit that permission to the Lens automatically? Anyway, Lens is only subset of the data sources, right? Hopefully Dev can simplify that permission process. Okay, going to move on. I'm going to dive a few things for admins. Can you turn off Ask Data for the whole server? Okay, there's no official way, but there's a not supported way if you are serious. Can you turn off Ask Data at the site level? The good news is yes, from 21.2. Although I do not recommend, but can you turn off Ask Data at data source level? Well, used to be yes, now no more. Now no more. From 21.2, you cannot turn off at the data source level anymore. Okay. Can you turn off Ask Data at the project level? Nope, I'm not aware of. Okay, highlights you to the new features, new changes. All right, move on. I'm going to skip the index very quick. There's an unsupported way. I don't know if this still works. I've not tried this for a long time. Okay, if you truly want to turn off Ask Data, but I don't know why you do so, but if you are serious, okay. Recap, create Lens, configure Lens, and use Lens. Give you a summary. Now, I do want to dive into this a little bit more. The permission again. Permission for the Lens. A simple use case one where you just want people to use Ask Data. Okay? You have to use the Lens now. And for the users to use Ask Data, they need to have 2 permissions. Number 1, data source connect permission. Same as before. Unfortunately, number 2, now you have to give Lens permission. View is good enough. That's the extra step, but that is how it works now. 21.1, sorry, 21.2 and 21.3. Use case number 2, if you decide to embed Ask Data to a dashboard, which I strongly recommend, that's a very good use case. Just embed your Ask Data to a dashboard, make it much, much easier for the dashboard users to use. The only thing is the permissions is a little bit complicated, okay? I'll walk you through the use case number 2 permission. For users to use Ask Data embedded into the dashboard, of course, they have to have workbook permissions. Otherwise, they cannot see the workbook, right? That's number 1. I mean, that's given. You have to give. Number 2, they have to have a data source connect permission. Again, to use Ask Data, even in the past, they have to have data source connect permission. But extra 3rd step, remember you have to give Lens view permission. Similar as a use case number 1, you just add 1 extra step. The problem is sometimes very challenging actually to understand which lens do you use actually? Yeah, you may not be able to see, you cannot see it from workbook easily unless you go to web edit, okay? Just be aware, lens has its own permission, but it's pretty additional extra permissions. All right, since I said this is a deep dive, I don't know, I'll go through it. I'll show you this. You guys can read. I'm running out of time. Okay, this is a deep dive. I do have a comparison, try to understand the relationship between data source and the lens. Here's what I came up with. Rest is view versus customer view, view metrics, view versus metrics, project versus sub-project, workbook versus view relationship. To understand data source relationship with lens. As parent-child, the lens has independent permission. Owners of the parents, means owners of data source today do not have visibility of all the lens. That's unfortunately, it's not good design from Tableau team. There's nothing to refresh. There's no refresh, unlike metrics. When the data source is deleted, all the lens get deleted automatically. That's a good thing. It does not have often situation. Okay, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to just show a quick takeaway and answer your questions. Okay. Explain data is beautiful, but is off by default and has to be turned on by workbook owners. Workbook by workbook. Be aware. Even you upgrade your server, it's off. New subscription timeout key, I love it. A lot better than the older ones. But be aware there are other few things control that as well. Collection is awesome feature to do the tagging, to use onboarding, to organize your content. But be aware does not affect the content permission within the collection, which is good design. Embedding Ask Data is awesome feature. Just be aware for the end users to use the Ask Data feature embedded into dashboard. They need to have not only connect permission to the workbook, connect permission to the data source, but also view permission to the lens. I know, sorry, it's took too long. I know a lot of things. Let me take the rest of time to answer your questions. Feel free to drop if you have other commitment. I will stay 10, 15 minutes to get all the rest questions. All right, I'll start from beginning. Just here you mentioned you are using 21.3. Any stability issues? I'm not aware. I have not upgraded my server to 21.3 yet. I'm using 21.3 online for demo. Can you mix at Python R servers from Patrick? Yes, you can have mixed Python R servers. Yeah. Is there any easy way to disable all subscriptions? Yes, if you do not want subscriptions, there is a way to disable subscriptions on the server, I believe. Yes, there is a way on site level, you can disable subscriptions. Yeah. Okay. Python server, R server answered already. Yes, is organized content. Projects, again, projects versus collections. The project is to organize, true. That is as well. But the collection is more like tagging. Okay, you can organize multiple projects together in one collection if you want. Okay, don't know if this answers. You try it. Can we restrict collection creation? I don't think so. Okay, I don't think you can restrict to who can, who cannot. You cannot restrict. Lens we covered. Can we add content from different projects into collection? Yes, you can add content from different projects into a collection. Definitely yes. Okay, yes. Robert, to clarify, is this correct? Collections are not visible to anyone by default. You are right. Collection by default is private. Only the owner of collection and admins can see them by default. Okay. However, the owner can grant collection permissions to anyone on the server. Okay. You are right. Robert, by default, collections are not visible because it's a private only. Correct. Good point. Any other those permissions associated with Lens? Again, Lens has a separate permission. You can assign the Lens permission to users groups. Okay. Tom, well, the Tableau use native language for Ask Data. It is pretty much native language. You can type like what it is, and as long as you gave a good synonyms name to the Ask Data. Okay. Overall, yes. The answer is yes. Victor, does anyone have issue upgrade to 21.2? The web UI is performing very slow and not responding. 21.2, I've been running my both servers on that. I'm not aware web UI running very slow issue, Victor. Probably you want to talk with your Tableau support for that. Michael, does the new Ask Data have any additional security requirements? I have noticed bugs due to SHA-2 requirements on the Tableau server. So I'm trying to see the impact. I'm hoping the answer is no. Does new Ask Data have any additional security requirements? I'm not aware of. Sorry, Michael.
It's 10 o'clock.
I'm not aware of that. Sorry. Ask Tableau support. Ask others in the community. Uncle Gupta, does collection permission supersede the permission of workbook? No. That's a very good question. The collection permissions will never change the workbook or data source permission within it. Will never change. Will never. Which is good design, I think. Make me feel better, at least. Any other questions, anyone? Any other questions, anyone? Looks like a couple of questions being answered in the chat, which is also good. Yeah. Lee, what visual add tool do you use here? What did you talk about? Are you talking about this tool? I have this thing called Presentation Assistant for Mac. I'm using Mac version. You talk about that? That is actually pretty cool. I did not enable that. If I do, I can show this as well. I can show my mouse better. I can even do this. Don't know if this is what I talk about. Mouse pointer, I can do the mouse pointer. I can do a mouse pointer, something like that. I don't know if this is what I talk about. Okay, and my mouse pointer too. It's called Presentation Assistant. I don't remember it's free I bought. I got a couple of choice, Spotlight. I even can do this. I know some people don't like why I present this way. Okay, that's why I took it off. Any other questions, anyone? Let me see if I have any more. Is there any documents on how to integrate server to Tableau server? Yes, integration is very simple, my friend. If you Google it, you will find it. Also from Tableau desktop. From Tableau desktop, users here from help. We're managing, setting performance, manage analytics, extension connections from Tableau desktop. Then they can just choose Python server, add host name, port, and the username password. That's it. And that's exactly same way, same window configuration you would do on the server. It's very simple. It's very simple. Okay. But to learn how to use that is not simple. People really have to dive into that. It's designed for advanced users. Okay. But integration, easy. I do have one Python server up and running. Okay. Works well. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Enjoy your weekend and feel free to reach out for any additional questions. And I know TC is coming. Enjoy. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you very much, Kelly. Awesome. I'm a little bit slow today. I think I have too much things.